You are listening to a Reverie original podcast. Please download the Reverie app to get the best in queer film, TV series, music, and podcasts. Stream out loud.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. Your main bitch is back. Welcome to Podcast of Color, where 4 trash bags of color come together to make sense of the world. This week's going to be a little bit more interesting. Wait.
Whoa. Shade to previous.
The wine jumped out. What I mean is it's going to be a little bit different in terms of the formatting because Baze is not here and Renee is not here. They are off doing things. And I also want to apologize a little bit because I know that not everyone has been here every week, but it's the summertime and bitches are booked and busy. So there are things going on and things people have to do and travel and do and see. And we made the podcast like a year ago. So, I'm actually kind of shocked that we've all managed to be here for like 50 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And now we're on 64?
65.
But John is here.
Hello. I'm here.
Hi. And we also have a guest this week. This person is a really close friend of John and me.
Yeah.
John and
right.
I.
Mm-hmm.
John and me.
Ours.
Yeah. Friend of ours.
A friend of ours.
And we'll let them introduce themselves, and then if you could just say your name and then your pronouns that you would like to be used.
My name's Ramon. You can use whatever, honestly.
Yay.
Oh my god, your voice sounds so high in these earphones.
Sorry.
Oh my god. No, don't apologize.
Why are you saying
sorry?
sorry?
Yeah. Hi.
I guess, yeah, I'm an artist. I'm a museum worker.
Yes, you are.
I am a Virgo rising. Oh, sorry, Virgo sun. I'm a Libra rising.
Oh, I was like, who starts with their rising sign? I was like, are you a Scorpio?
And a Scorpio moon.
Oh. What? Wait, you said you're a Virgo sun sign?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. And
what is your actual?
I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
I'm a Virgo, yeah.
She's Beyonce.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for coming on.
So, because we're missing 2 people, we're just gonna have a good ass time and kiki and talk about some art and shit, and it's gonna be a little like.
Oh wait, there's 2 Asians on this episode.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that matters. It is POC. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm Filipinx. Just
yes,
like John.
with the X.
Yes, with the X. I did not grow up here. I was not born here is what I meant. Like, I came here when I was 12.
Where were you born?
I was born in Manila.
Word.
Yeah.
Oh, you said word.
Yeah.
Oh, not you said where, and I was like,
But I mean, I guess we're gonna talk about this later, so this ties into.
Yeah, John told me to shut my black ass up earlier.
I did not.
John said we're gonna have an Asian episode, and your voice does not need to go home. You're only here to edit the podcast and pick cotton. So,
oh my god,
do you deny it?
That last part is not true.
But
what?
That's why your hair fell out.
Wow, drag me.
I'm kidding. So we're gonna go into the question of color this week, and actually, Ramon,
the guest,
came up with our question.
Came through with the question.
Yeah. So the question of color is, what would be the thing that you would pick up in case of an evacuation situation?
Also, what do you think the other person would bring? Because apparently Rakeem thinks he knows mine.
Are we like guessing each other's?
Yeah. Okay, so we're doing our own and then other people. So it's like if you had to evacuate or leave in an emergency, if Trump really succeeds in his agenda and we have to go, what are you grabbing? I think John should go first.
Why should I go first?
Because I'm just curious to hear what. No, you know what? Let's start with Ramon. We'll go this way.
The guests should go first.
The guests should go first.
Is it just one thing, or can we
Was
you
came
up with
it's one thing, and then what you think Rakeem and I would take.
Okay, so I'm thinking of like things that are easily grabbable.
Mm-hmm.
So I would, I guess, pick up my passport.
Oh, see, you're a practical bitch. Wait, John is looking like...
Wait, during a zombie apocalypse, you think they're going to check your passport?
No, well, I said the zombie apocalypse.
Oh.
Okay, but fine, we'll do that. It's the same scenario. Zombie apocalypse, what are you grabbing?
Fuck, okay, let me rethink this then.
Okay, well, what were you going to say?
A notebook and a pen and a passport. And a bottled water.
Wait, what would you do with that?
That's a lot of things.
So like when you're like waiting.
Okay, so let's just say this is
to get
like
saved.
Have you seen A Handmaid's Tale?
No, I have.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
either.
damn! Do you know the premise?
I want to read the book
Sort
first
of.
before I want to watch it.
Okay, well, let me shut up. Never mind. I was gonna say if this was The Handmaid's Tale, like that's not gonna help you. But like, I get it. Okay,
But it's an apocalypse.
true. Oh, okay. So during a zombie apocalypse, what would you grab?
I would grab my knife kit.
Wow.
You have a knife kit?
Yeah, from
You're so masked.
from chef school.
Oh, that kind of.
That knife kit.
From culinary. Not like, I don't know, from Bass
Right.
Pro. Or...
I was thinking, oh, okay, like I used to murder birds when I was younger. Like I'm a serial killer. Like okay. So what would we get?
I think you'd grab your vape pen.
I was going to say that. I was going to say vape pen or wine. I mean, look, you have to
Wow.
be in the right state
Okay,
of
well,
mind.
what about John? Let's talk about John.
Wow.
Let's talk about John. Let's talk about you.
John.
Well,
Wait, say what you're gonna grab first, then.
oh.
Yeah.
Wait, but you... Okay. Well, I don't know what you were...
You can hurt her feelings.
I was...
You don't have to be nice. We're bitches to each other.
I wanted to grab my phone and my charger.
Oh, you know what? That is such the smart bitch answer. It's
Yeah, like
That's
duh.
the same thing as picking up a passport.
is it?
no, it's not.
What
You
if
can
there's
do
like
way more things on your phone than
in a zombie apocalypse?
Well, I also just want to look at everything.
Right? You're gonna go on Grindr.
Looking for alive. Looking for human.
Live for live.
The zombies are like, hey, that's not fair.
Oh no, zombie.
Zombie is the new
Zombie oppression. Oh my god, they're probably. I know there's ableism in zombies in zombie
Stop
culture. There is.
that.
Not all zombies can walk, or
Okay.
I feel like you would
there is.
pick up like
Like
an extra pair of shoes and like a bottle of nail color.
of milk.
Okay.
Nail color.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one. I mean, you should have your nails done during the end of...
Truly, the end of time.
Yeah.
I read once, there's this book that's called like the Zombie Apocalypse Guide or something, and they were talking about how zombies can't climb upstairs, so you should always be upstairs, and that you should wear leather because zombies can't bite through leather.
Oh.
What
right?
book was this
They
from?
obviously haven't seen 28 Days Later, but...
Oh, those zombies are exceptions. They're not the rule. Like, those zombies fuck every... If it was 28 days later, I would have committed suicide 28 days
Oh my
ago. There's no way.
God. 28 days.
There's no way.
With your vape pen, just...
If you... Can you use death by vape?
No. I mean, you could, I guess, stick it in, stab your throat. I don't know.
Not with that.
Mm.
No one's died from weed, so... Ever. But anyway, John, what would you get? Oh, wait, you just said your phone. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But what would we get?
I think that you would grab a bottle of wine or a vape pen. And that was for Ramon. I was going to say, like, your paints. Your paint kit.
Paints.
Your brushes and your...
Wow, so Ramon's an artist and I'm an alcoholic.
Basically.
Facts are facts, but you know, that's what I have. You know what? Today's the first time I've drank since I've gotten it. I'm not going to say that. That sounds terrible. I'm going to answer now.
Yeah. Good idea.
Honestly, I'd probably grab my camera.
Oh, okay.
Because during an apocalypse type situation, like, let's just say there's a cure, there's going to be a really, really high demand for pictures of the apocalypse. And I want to be able to fulfill that role in documenting it. Like, you know how in like World War II, like the medics would like wear the armbands that said like that had the Red Cross on it so that they wouldn't be shot? Like, I would wear something like that for the zombies that would say like, don't eat me. I'm a photographer.
I'm sure they respect the profession.
Wow, a zombie press pass.
Yeah, exactly.
Zombie press pass. Can someone write that down? Because zombies don't have racism, so they would actually respect it. So I wonder how zombie culture works. Like how? Like, who's at the like? Is it white zombies at the top? Are zombies white?
I think there was a Keela and Peele episode.
Aquila and the Bee?
No, wait. I'm not pronouncing it right. Something in Peele episode. I'm not
you said Keenan and Peele.
I thought I said Key
and Peele?
Oh, Jordan and Peele. It's Jordan Peele and
none of us know.
La 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 la. This is Elmo's world. Like, I don't.
Let's Google.
Yeah, I don't know. But okay, so is that everyone?
I think that's everybody.
I think that's it. Oh, wait, no, I didn't say what I thought you guys would get.
What do you think I'm going to bring?
I thought you would grab a Fleet bottle.
Wow, I knew it.
I truly thought you would grab it. Bitch.
You got to stay ready for the
zombies. You're walking around zombie guts. You're running around, like, slicing bitches up, like, shooting them in the head. Guts. And you're going to tell me that your insides are clean and you're just going to be ready to go during the zombie apocalypse? You're just ready to get fucked.
What is Ramon going to bring?
Ramon is going to bring. I feel like Ramon is going to bring whatever is like the most practical. I see Ramon being like, okay, but I need to survive. So like this shit is cute for y'all. Like, but so I feel like you'd grab like a maybe like. A weapon or something. Yeah, you did say a weapon. I could just see
His knife kit.
Yeah, I could see you grabbing that. I could see you grabbing like a wooden sword because like those went in dull.
Wooden sword.
Well, because I think a wooden sword is actually a great thing to have during a zombie apocalypse because they don't dull like metal swords do. All you need to do to kill zombies is cause them blunt force trauma.
The expert has spoken.
So I feel like Ramon would grab that, or like, or you'd grab like a miniature Jeff Koons and just like hit the zombies with that balloon dog for that ass. But yeah, so I guess that
wraps up our intro,
and then we'll move on to the minuto. How does Baze do it? Can you do a French accent?
Not well. Like,
can you do it better than Baze?
Wow.
Like, minute of color.
Oh.
Wait, can you just say that like 3 times really fast?
Minute of color.
3. That was 1.
No. Sorry. Can't do it fast.
Minute of color. Hello, everybody. My name is Katrina Kasprensky, and I'm back. And I know that you had missed me, and it's okay. Today we are going. Oh, that was Godfather.
Yeah.
This on the day of my daughter's wedding. So we're gonna talk about a few things. My computer just went to the thing, so I'm gonna. We're first gonna talk about NASHE.
What about her? What does she do? The fellow Aquarian. She's an Aquarian, right?
She is an Aquarii.
Yeah,
I love her. Yeah. Did you hear her new song?
She came out with 2.
Wait, what's the?
Like I Used To, and the other one's called shoot. It's a more like
Throw a Fit.
Yeah, Throw a Fit.
So
I sent you like I Used To.
Right, I remember listening to it once, and I remember it dropped the same day as someone else. No
one notices when she drops anything.
So okay, the thing about NASHE, and I kind of want to like extend this into a conversation about like her
marketing team.
Well, yeah, but I kind of want to like unpack that a little bit, right? Like we never get to do this on an episode where Baze was here. Someone wanted to do it today. Because okay, so she drops the first song. I remember hearing it once, but it came out the same day as like someone else. I don't remember. Maybe Drake. I don't fucking know.
Ariana Grande.
Oh, that's exactly what it was. It was Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
It was God as a Woman.
Oh shit!
Damn, TKO, bitch.
Someone needs to tell her not to check her calendar. Like, hey, don't drop anything when anyone else drops anything.
But like, when isn't anyone like? Okay, so before I go off, what do y'all think about her? What do you think about the song? What do you think about this whole like NASHE era that she's doing?
I don't know her.
Oh. Wait, is that like a Mariah Carey? You don't know her?
No,
like
I really don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm so mad because I know that there around like 200 people just cackled.
Yeah.
And you can choke.
Ramon just proved everybody.
Okay, John, what did you think about this?
I like her. Okay, in general, I think she's underrated.
How so? Agree, but
I think it's that song Computer, the video Computer, where she did, is it called Computer?
That's Janelle Monáe, Dirty Computer.
No. It's Tinashe, where she does this like...
Company?
Oh my god, it's Company. Why did I say Computer?
No!
Okay, yeah, Company. So the whole music video is in one take. Mm-hmm. And she's like... So I think that proves how good of a dancer she is. And also Super Love shows how good of a dancer she is.
Thank you, Justice for Super Love. Buy it on iTunes, please.
What else? I don't know. I like her music. I like that she can dance. She's beautiful. I don't know. I like her sound. I just think that maybe she has a bad marketing team and they don't know how to... I don't know. I think she's getting a little Carrie Hilson, you know? Like... Or is that not the same? Is that very different?
Well, I think one of these people ruined their career on purpose.
Oh, right.
And okay, so my thing with Tinashe is like, I think that she's indicative of a bigger problem, which is kind of what I wanted to expand it to. I know you might not get it, John, because we're going to talk about black women.
Wow. Okay.
But I feel like Tinashe has been very vocal about what it means to have like black women succeed in that area, and like there can only be one or like two, right? Mm-hmm. And so like, for example, she's always compared as like to Beyonce or like Rihanna, and I kind of feel like Tinashe should have the room to be Tinashe. Like, yeah. I think part of why people don't like her is because she does like weird shit, but that's kind of why I like her.
Like, what weird shit does she do?
So like, so like the thing that people really joke about her the most, clown on her the most for, was she did a cover for the Fader, but like there was like a mini toilet and like she like licked the toilet like for a picture. Okay, but like that's what everyone was doing, right? Like they were making that noise, but I thought it was cute. Like, and
you thought it was cute? She was licking the toilet?
I thought the shoot was cute. Like it was a very like...
Wait, is that the one where she's like licking a lollipop?
Yes, where she's like lighting her tongue on fire?
A crop top with like her underboob showing?
No. That's Complex.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
That's where she had like the pink and the ice cream or whatever. No, this is like, it was film. It was for the Fader. And like people just were kind of like, you know, we're like, oh, you're weird. And I feel like Tinashe, for me, is kind of very like, I think the reason I connected her is because, yes, that picture.
The cover of Dazed. Okay.
It was Dazed. I'm sorry. And not the Fader. Oh God, is this what it feels like to be Baze and then your facts are wrong?
Stop. Oh my God. Just because he's not here to speak for himself.
I say this to Baze all the fucking time.
That's true.
I text Bates all the time. I text Bates outside of the group chat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm kidding. Claps.
I'm clapping for you.
Like, congrats, you have friends, bitch. But yeah, so I just felt like she's kind of indicative of like this thing where black women aren't allowed to kind of like exist in a space like where there's more than one. You guys are laughing at me because you're like, no. I don't think that's it.
I think I take my statement back. I don't think she's being careless. I think it's like almost like Sierra in a way.
How so?
Because I think Sierra's sort of in the same boat. Like no one really plays her that much on the radio unless she comes out with like one I mean, she's big in certain areas, but not big like mainstream. Do you know what I mean? Like dance crews love her, or like club scenes. They
That's
do. No, it's not shade at all.
But I feel like Sierra's different because I feel like Sierra.
It's sort of like it's like I don't know, especially with what Tinashe did with Super Love. It's like a throwback to old, like,
Right.
I don't know what that music is like. Not R&B, like,
no, but I feel like Tinashe. It's a pop song. I feel like Tinashe wants to be recognized on the level as like Lady Gaga, right?
Does she?
I think that's what she wants, because in the end, I really do think that Tinashe wants to have the career trajectory of like Gaga or like Beyonce or Rihanna or someone, but I think that the music she makes doesn't really allow for that, and I'm aware that she is kind of like all over the place, like stylistically. So I don't know, but I feel like to me she has a sound. Like even though she has sounds in these different kind of genres, it's still like a sound. Like to me, like a Rihanna song sounds like, well, that's not maybe not Rihanna's not the best example. Like a Adele song sounds like Adele's not Beyonce's probably the best. I'm trying to not use Beyonce related examples, but Beyonce has songs that when she does them turn into Beyonce songs, even though they don't sound like a song Beyonce would make. Okay.
No, I'm thinking about, do you know that meme where this like white boy has like his veins are coming to his head because he's like trying to, that's like Rakeem when he's like trying not to talk about Beyonce.
I'm trying not to, bitch.
And his face is like, oh, I'm trying not to talk about her.
I'm trying not to, but that's who she gets compared to a lot.
Well, that's who like I feel like any black woman is getting compared to right now is her, like her level of success.
Yeah, but her specifically because she can dance and she can sing. So people kind of like made that. You know how there was that article in 2003 that came out that was like Beyonce, she's no one's Ashanti.
Oh,
like have you not? There was an article that came out from the Rolling Stone magazine about how Beyonce would never be Ashanti.
Oh my god!
Ouch.
Yeah, and so I just feel like Tinashe kind of, I don't know,
is being Ashanti'd.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it's her fault though.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like I really like. A lot of artists, we know who they are, sort of. I don't know who she is yet, I guess.
Okay.
So
I lose. It's okay. I bought your song, sis.
It's not about winning. Yeah.
What is it about?
Artistic
integrity?
I like her songs too, but also, like, didn't she just drop an album this year?
Yeah.
Why is she doing that again?
Because Joyride wasn't the album that she wanted to release. Like,
so she's going to release 2 albums in 1 year?
Okay, Rihanna released the album every year. Drake releases a song all the time. Future releases songs all the time.
But 2 in 1 year? That's not very smart.
But isn't Rihanna releasing 2 this year? Like 1 pop and 1 reggae?
Possibly. Yeah, I actually heard that.
Yeah.
She has...
I want that.
She could do that, though. I feel like Tinashe's not there yet. I mean, she's in her, sophomore album?
Joyride was her sophomore album.
So, maybe give us some time to miss you for a second. And then... I don't know. Anyway.
Wow.
What's next?
Okay, clearly. Well, okay. So, I guess I'll talk about this really quickly before we move. Well, we'll talk about this now. So we've mentioned before on the show about a podcast called Still Processing. And
love it. Listen to it.
Yes, it's amazing. It's with 2 people named I was gonna say Wesley Snipes. It's, oh god, I know their names are Jenna and Wesley. I can't think of their last names right now, but it's the New York Times podcast where they kind of talk about like,
they're 2 culture writers.
They're culture writers.
Yeah.
And so they had a series recently this past 2 weeks, or actually 2 weeks ago, that I highly recommend you all listen to if you haven't, about kind of like racism in Asian American cultures and experience. So for the next segment, I'm gonna kind of like hand over the mic and shut up, so like the Asian people here can kind of talk about like what that meant or like what their experiences are. 'Cause, yeah.
So the podcast is called Still Processing with Jenna Wortham and Wesley Morris.
Thank you.
And
hi, Wesley. If you're single, call me. Sorry.
I mean, yeah,
he's fine.
He's fine. And what do they identify? I mean, it doesn't matter.
They're both queer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both writers for New York Times Culture section, And they had an episode about, it was a 2-part episode, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-part episode on racism in the Asian API communities.
I think it's called...
Wait, John, sorry. What does API stand for people that...
Asian Pacific Islander?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's called Asian Americans Talk About Racism and We Listen.
So is there like... Sorry.
And that's one of the things they touched on is that like, it's interesting how people say Asian when it's such a broad, like, so because they're Southeast, and that's why I like to say Asian and Asian Pacific Islanders, because there's Pacific Islanders and people who are in, like, attached to the continent of Asia, but then there's also Southeast Asians, there's also South Asians and East Asians, and we're all so different. Like,
is there like a, so you know how you've probably heard of like the Black diaspora before? Is there like an equivalent?
The Asian diaspora?
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, is that what it's called? Like,
I think it's specific to where you're from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Filipinos, like Filipino diaspora.
So there's sorry, this is a learning experience for me. So so what do you mean by like Filipino? I don't get what that means.
When you're taken out of your country?
No. He's sorry, Filipino diaspora?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Keep going. Sorry. I'm just trying to.
No, I mean like diaspora, like people leaving the country and like settling in another.
Is that what the fuck that means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch, have I had the definition of diaspora wrong this whole time?
Oh my god, did you busted a me?
I literally thought diaspora just meant like the sum total of all. When people said the African diaspora, I really thought they just meant like what it meant to be black globally.
I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, it's people taking it out of their country going to somewhere else. So it does apply to that too, because I mean, mostly people of color who are forced to go somewhere they didn't want to be.
Got it. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
I don't know. Where do you want to start? This is like really like.
Well, I think like one of their guests was a sports writer who's the Filipino one.
Yeah,
I forgot what his name was. Now I feel really bad. But
his last name's Torre. I don't remember his first name.
And I mean, he was talking about how in Filipino culture or Filipinx culture in itself was like it's kind of interesting because a lot of our history has been erased due to colonization. So even a lot of Filipinos themselves like don't really know what's going on because it wasn't, our history is just, Spaniard colonization or Japanese occupancy, American occupancy, like everybody basically had their time in the Philippines.
Like there isn't much record of pre-Spanish period.
Right. Which is unfortunate because a lot of other Asian cultures have that. They can go back in their history lessons and learn about themselves. But for us, we have to do like a little bit more work because it's like
and sometimes we just have to like imagine like mythologies and stuff like that, which is kind of sad in a way.
But the Philippines had their own. There was different kinds of writing. There was different. We weren't even like. The reason why it's called the Philippines is because of what's his name, King Philip. King Philip. So like it was not even our choice.
Isn't that crazy? We're still called by our colonizers.
Yeah,
like Filipinos.
Yeah,
but that's funny because black people actually have that in common in that most black people's last names here are the names of their slave owners. And so like my last name is the name of the family that like my last name is Cunningham and it's the name of the family that owned mine.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like black people didn't just come from Africa with the last name Cunningham. Like it came from Christian like colonizers. And it's funny how it's just not funny, but it's just so interesting like how when you really think about it, colonization really like fucked up like everything. And then you try to think about like so I was listening to still processing earlier this morning, like some earlier episodes when I was folding laundry, and one of the episodes we were talking about, or they were talking about, hire me, was that about kind of what cultures kind of have like access to what, and it's funny because I don't know, like what, or they were talking about Confederate and kind of about like the show that HBO was doing with like the people that do Game of Thrones about like, oh well, what if the South had won slavery? I kind of thought about it like, what happened if places weren't colonized? That's why I think Black Panther kind of appealed to so many people, because I think the thought of a country without like European colonization is really interesting.
No, yeah.
Right.
So I don't know if this is like an insensitive question, but like, what do you think like Asian culture would be like had it not been
Filipino culture?
Yeah, I can't speak for other Asian experiences
or
except
yours,
for
I guess.
mine.
Yeah.
But I imagine, like, I mean, I went to school there and kind of studied the history there a little bit. I don't remember much of it now, but I imagine if the Spaniards didn't come and colonize the country, or actually, it was not even a country then. It was just
It was a bunch of different islands.
What do you call those? Warring states.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chinese, the Arabs, and South Asians were already doing trade pre-Hispanic times.
Trade.
Oh my God! Could you imagine? Like,
Trade.
this is a terrible joke, but like, actually, I'm not even gonna make that.
What's your Asian trade name?
Oh my God! Stop.
Oh my God!
What's your pre-colonized name?
Your pre-colonized name?
Well, because there's like very Filipino names, and then we have like, you know, a lot of Filipinos now have last names like.
Oh no, I was just thinking of that as a Black person, and what's crazy is I can't think of that. Like, that's sad. Like, I don't know what my name would be had we not been called. Like, I don't even know. Well, what would yours be, Ramon? Since you're so.
What?
What would your non-colonized name be?
Oh my God, I don't even know.
You know what we should do? We should right now. We should make a movement. We should say, "Fuck the names."
Oh my God,
are we changing our names?
We're
now?
changing our names right now.
That's a lot. It's a lot of paperwork.
Like I only know one Filipino deity.
My name is now Ace.
Okay. No, you're right. You're right, Ramon. I think before Spanish colonization, we had different deities.
Yeah.
And then not actual, like, so it wasn't Catholic or Christian based.
Right. So I was gonna say, like, it would the country, if it were to form as one full country pre-Spaniard, it would probably be either Hindu or Islamic, or a Buddhist country like
Because-
Thailand.
What am I thinking? Because Mindanao, right? Is
Yeah.
predominantly Muslim.
Yeah.
Which is this most southern portion of the Philippines.
Yeah. And there's still
There's
wars
still, yeah, they
there.
still want to break apart from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Did they talk about anything in the episode? Like, where, maybe a better way to phrase it, because I'm realizing this is like a discourse and it can be forever. Were there moments or highlights for you that maybe stuck out, or things that you heard that like weren't necessarily talked about a lot?
What do you want to get?
Yeah, the thing that I kind of resonated with the most is with the Filipino sports writer, and what he said that based off of our names, especially my name because I have a very Spanish name,
Ramon.
is that I am kind of like not forced, but like most of the time I find myself in situations where I had to like explain that the Philippines was this, you know, like was a colony of Spain. That's why I have my name. And actually one of the kind of, it's not necessarily microaggressive experience that I have is, it's just a weird like interaction that I have with Latinx is like for example, like my mom and I were walking around Costco and like a sales lady just went up to us and just started
Speaking
talking to us in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then we were just like, I'm sorry, we don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, I was telling. That happens to me all the time at work at the hospital. I have a Spanish-speaking patients who refuse to like believe that I'm not Spanish speaking as well.
Yeah,
but I mean that could be based on our appearance and
right
other things. And I appreciate that episode went into how like it's interesting how people say Asian when like we're all so different looking, you know?
Right.
Even within the Philippines itself, there's a lot of colorism in the Philippines, and then in different countries, like, You know, I think Ali Wong made that joke about like fancy Asians and jungle Asians,
Right.
And so we know, like she's like, you know who the fancy Asians are? They're like Japanese and Chinese.
Right.
The jungle Asians are like the ones in the south and the southeast.
Didn't Issa Rae say some?
Issa Rae did say that Filipinos were
The black people
of Asia.
I hear that a lot too, and also the Mexicans of Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something else. Remember, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
But I think that episode did also mention something that we have mentioned before too. Is that I think one of the guys who was talking was that a lot of Asian men are not seen as like sexual objects in other races. Like they're also like on the bottom of the food chain in the dating pool. And
Right.
it was interesting to hear like straight Asian guys talk about that
Right.
because I know that we experience it in queer culture. But it's interesting how it's also the same thing in
Right.
heterosexual culture.
But I think, I think Filipinos are exception to that.
Yes.
You know, like it's weird because we're always lumped with Latinx or Black people, and not necessarily with East Asians.
Right.
Do people think you're black, Ramon?
No, it's just like we're not. It was also talked about in. Oh, Pablo Torre was his name.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Like,
Oh my god, that is such a
It is
Spanish
Pablo.
name.
Yes.
Yeah. And how us Filipinos aren't exactly
Oh, I see.
kind of treated the same way as East Asians would.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because of like skin color?
That's a lot of reasons. Yeah, and that's one of the big ones is that we
And we're mutts, to
Yeah,
be quite honest.
We're mutts too.
We're all mutts.
We're mutts meaning that like
I know what
Oh,
it means.
okay.
I was just shook that she said. I know how you guys feel when I say nigger. Because I was like, oh.
I don't know if it's quite the same, but yeah.
No, it's not the same, but I've never heard someone say that out loud. That's all. But yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting conversation, and one of the things that they had mentioned, kind of, or maybe it wasn't that podcast, but they had kind of talked about. Well, I thought it was interesting. First of all, that you have these black hosts that were like, I'm going to be using this show to just say like, this isn't my place. And I think a lot more of that needs to happen to just be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. For the last 5-7 minutes, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But it's interesting and, you know, necessary to listen to the people that like need to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just very excited that Ramon is here.
Oh, me too.
But there was like, sorry.
This is the first
Ramon
time when
is like-
Asians are the most popular. I'm just kidding, not the most popular.
The majority?
The majority, yeah.
The most popular.
there was a part in the first part of that episode where they were talking about like not believing under like the POC umbrella.
Right, that's another
which
interesting.
I didn't really get.
Well, because a lot of people don't. That's what they said. A lot of people don't see Asians as
POC.
It's POC, but that's East Asians though, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting is that because they're the closest to whiteness,
Right.
And even in our culture, even in Filipino
Yeah.
culture, they acknowledge that. Like, there's a whole bunch of things.
They
about,
are considered kind of like, you know, I have kind of a bit of a story. When I was younger, I was watching anime.
Oh, what was the show, girl?
I don't remember, but I think it was like Cooking Master Boy or something like that. It was like an anime about a Chinese chef who like was traveling around China to compete about
That's
food.
amazing.
And whenever I would watch it, I would eat.
Yes.
But there was this one day where I would eat with chopsticks.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom saw me and she was like, "Why are you eating with chopsticks? You're not rich."
Huh.
Well, because Filipinos eat with their hands or a spoon and fork.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's this like thing where, I don't know, East Asians are kind of I now remembered what I was going to say earlier. Like I've like growing up there, I've kind of experienced like the wave of the ideal beauty there. There was a point in time when like Latinx, like white Hispanic kind of beauty was the standard, and then
For
like
sure.
like
Is it not now?
I think
it
now
still
it's like,
is, but it's like there's like the K-pop wave.
Yeah,
and,
I think they're really trying to aspire to be Korean or like
East Asian.
But don't you even feel like though that is still like inspired by or like has something to do with white supremacy? Because I feel like a lot of K-pop has roots. And like I know in Korea specifically, like skin bleaching is like super common,
and that's also common in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go to like a Filipino market here, they sell that stuff over the counter.
You know what's actually really interesting? So like I'm trying to think about like Filipino people specifically and like popular culture and like
where.
Exactly, and when you think about it, like these are the things I can think of off the top of my head that are Filipino specific, and then I'll kind of branch out to like Asian people specifically in popular media. Like
you're talking about one half of Cassie Ventura.
I don't even know who that is.
Cassie, me and you, Puff Daddy's girlfriend.
Wait, her last name is Ventura?
Yeah,
Cassie.
She's Asian.
She's half Filipino.
Oh,
so is Nicole
Scherzinger.
What? What does she have? With
Filipino.
Oh, she's half
what?
Filipino and half German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck she was. I thought she was black because I just assumed. I didn't even know. But like,
exactly.
Trust me, Filipinos be doing the like. Where can we find people related to?
For some reason, I felt like she said nigga before. But
no, and you let it slide. You're like, oh, well,
like,
she's
okay.
black.
It's like when J-Lo said it and I'm real, but like no one said anything. So it's like, okay. But like, okay, so the only things I can really think of in terms of like mainstream popular culture when it comes to Asian people recently has been Sandra Oh for the Emmy nomination that she got.
Okay.
That article that came out from The Atlantic about the woman named Lola who was like that house slave.
Oh,
do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And like,
well, that was interesting. I don't know if I would call
was
it.
that.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point is what your point is that that's not something that I would consider like a pop culture moment.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like Asian people are allowed to succeed in like entertainment in the way that I feel like other cultures are. And I think that that's something to kind of unpack because there's definitely like anti-blackness and all of that. But like, when's the last time you've seen an Asian pop star like in America?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
other than K-pop?
Other than K-pop. Like an American, an Asian American pop star. Like, when does that happen? And like, and I do want to mention too that like, I think sometimes that like when pop stars are mentioned in these things, that like sometimes pop stars get written off as like, oh, well, it's just pop stars. Like, that's important to me.
Yeah.
Because like pop stars are like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like pillars of like culture to me. Like pop stars kind of shape a lot of the big cultural moments that we have. So I think it's important for everyone to be seen in that way. Like the last thing I can really think of is like Far East Movement.
Yeah. Also, like the last person I thought of who like probably just tried is Brenda Song from like
my god, the Disney Channel.
Right. And that's fucked up. Like or CL. She tried too, and she's East Asian, and so it's just like I can only imagine what that's like for Filipino people, and it's kind of
this is like a very
I'm realizing it's okay. So we'll move on. Okay, I get it. Okay, so really quickly before we move on, I just wanted to say we have two more things, but I just want to say really quickly. Attack on Titan season 3 is out. I'll talk about it with Baze when Baze gets back, but. If you're watching it, let me know. I'm very excited. I read the manga, so I kind of know what's going to happen. So I just want to like geek out with people who don't know what's going to happen. So, I kind of, and I also wanted to say shout out to, the Electra Abundance to our Blanca, maybe?
The Electra Abundance to our Blanca.
I was going to say, well, Kid Fury and Kid Fury of the Read, who is like our podcast mother, and we pay our respects and pay homage. Actually, no, was announced today with Variety magazine to
have a TV show.
On HBO with Lena Waithe.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I cried.
Oh,
I cried because it's just like I've seen the Read kind of come up, and we mentioned the Read on here all the time. And there's plenty of times where I've almost said, like, send your questions to asktheread@gmail.com.
Oh my God.
Like, there's been, like, I have to catch myself because I do want to say that I think that it's really important that we mention this because it's important to talk about what podcasting can be, like the realm that you can, what you can do, but also what happens when queer POC and Black voices like come together without being censored. And it makes me, as a Black queer person, it makes me, and especially because Kid Fury's dark skinned too, it makes me happy. It makes me feel seen, like, especially because I think we have very similar sense of humors. So it's very nice to kind of like see someone like that be noticed and recognized, and it like Monique said in her Oscar speech, being about the performance and not the politics. So I'm very happy about that, and congrats to him for that.
And I feel like are you going to mention, I feel like this your meme right now is, you know, when you're like trying not to mention someone, are you forgetting to mention somebody right now?
No, that's the last thing.
Oh.
So the last thing, the Beyonce thing?
Yeah.
No, that's the last thing. I know, we went long.
I was like, Rakeem wants to talk about something.
No, sorry, we went long, but I wanted to, let you guys talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have a separate episode with API discourse for sure.
It'll be a discourse for sure, but I thought it was important to mention because I think...
Thank you for giving us room.
But it's not even me giving you room. I feel like sometimes, my own criticism of our show is I think that we need to do more specific things towards specific like races and subsections of people. So like I thought that was important. Ooh, trade. I thought that was important that we at least mention it or like try to scratch the surface, because I'm sure that there are people that are listening. But the main thing, or not the main thing, but the thing John is mentioning is that Beyonce. Okay, so this came out like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, that Beyonce selected Tyler Shields, who I love, a 23-year-old Black photographer, to shoot the cover of Vogue September issue, which will probably be Anna Wintour's last September issue.
Word.
And not only did Beyonce get Tyler Shields to shoot the interview, Anna Wintour told Beyonce that she has creative control over the cover and her cover spread, and like she has control over the text. There's no interview. It's just long captions that Beyonce herself is writing. And it's the first time in 128, is it 128? 126 years that Vogue has been in publication that they've had a Black person shoot their cover. That is, like, like, what the fuck? Like, I used to go to college, like, y'all don't understand. When I was in college, like, I would literally go home every weekend, take photographs or take screenshots of, like, behind-the-scenes Vogue videos and, like, practice them in my garage, thinking that could be on the cover, not even knowing that a Black person hasn't ever shot the cover before.
That's crazy. I can't believe that's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, right?
For Vogue. Like, of all the photographers, you've never had a Black person photograph. Like,
that's insane. And then I'm wondering if that's just American Vogue, because
good point.
I think
isn't Teen Vogue like very like woke?
Yeah, I think it's American Vogue specifically. But now I'm curious because, like, for example, when Vogue Italia did the Black issue where it was all Black people, I think Steven Meisel, who's white, shot the cover. Oh, right. And it's just kind of like that stuff matters. Like,
no, it does.
And I so before I kind of like kick it off to y'all, I just wanted to mention that, like, Anna Wintour has never done that. Like, Beyonce literally told her this is what the cover is going to be. Like, no, literally, like. Anna said, you are going to send me the cover and I'll use whatever you send me. That's insane.
That is insane.
And I think it speaks to the power that she has, but also I think it speaks to kind of where we're at. Tyler Shields, if you don't know, is
I tried to Google him and I only see he's a white dude.
I'm sorry, not Tyler Shields. Fuck. Tyler Shields is another... Mitchell. I'm so sorry. Tyler Shields is another photographer, Tyler Mitchell, and I'll link his Instagram, Tyler Mitchell. Oh. Tyler Shields is another photographer. I am so sorry. Tyler Mitchell. And Tyler Mitchell's work is gorgeous. He shot Vince Staples. He shot like a few other.
And he's 23.
He's 23.
Imagine, like, what am I doing with my life?
Dude, I don't even know if people realize the September issue of Vogue is
huge.
It's huge.
It's the
There's a whole
Bible.
documentary about it.
Yeah.
So actually, when I said I cried about Kid Fury, I really cried about this because I wish I got to see this in college. Like, this is the
oh, baby.
Sorry. This is the kind, like, I wish I got to see this shit when I was younger because this is like, that's what I wanted to be. And that, and it makes me happy that there are other black people that are in their undergrad program right now that came out of undergrad, that maybe are in their grad program, that are like doing work that, and it says like, this is important to you.
No, for sure.
Like, imagine being a black photographer in a probably prominently white, which we'll get into in the discourse, like art program
at 23,
and seeing that is the person that's photographing the Vogue September cover, like, and probably like the last one for Anna Wintour, like, and I know you were saying, but you were joking before about how it's like funny that I like don't mention, like, am struggling to not mention Beyonce, but it's hard because when she does stuff like this, like Vogue didn't hire the black photographer because Vogue wanted to. Vogue hired him because Beyonce said it. And following the apeshit video and what Everything Is Love is, and talking about black generational wealth, and following Lemonade and following Beachella, and seeing that, it just makes me so happy to be a black person, to see someone so dedicated to infiltrating these white spaces and just being like, no, the niggas are here.
Can you imagine Beyonce being the editor-in-chief of Vogue?
I would die. Beyonce and Edward Enninful.
I would die.
Beyonce,
Also,
what?
So the editor-in-chief for British Vogue right now is a guy named Edward Enninful, who used to be the fashion editor of Vogue America. And like, imagine just having like Beyonce, like Vogue Beyonce.
It's just gonna turn into Beyonce magazine.
Like, why not? But sorry, I talked enough. So what do y'all think?
No, I think it's amazing. I mean, we already mentioned like the first black photographer, which is insane. He's 23. I mean, what more do you want to accomplish? Like, I feel like that is, I'm afraid because like what is there to accomplish at that point of your career? Like, you shot for the cover of Vogue at 23. What are you going to do? But then again, like, Beyonce's surpassed everything when I asked, what are you going to do next?
Right.
So hopefully, I really hope that Tyler Mitchell accomplishes a lot more. And I'm looking forward to see what else he's doing.
Hopefully bring more like POC folks in the field.
Are you like caught up on like, or like interested in, or like or not relevant to shade? Are you like, do you kind of keep up with fashion news at all?
Me?
Or either of you?
I keep up through like Instagram accounts that I follow, which are, I follow mostly like East Asian fashion. But not like mainstream.
Well, I'm just curious to see if you had an idea of who maybe might take over after Anna Wintour is done.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that life.
I know who I would want it to be, but
it's probably that guy who's running Teen Vogue right now.
Oh, I don't think so.
Someone Cardi.
I know who you're talking about. I follow him on Twitter, but I don't. But
PF Bacardi is the Insta name.
I think it's gonna. I would love it to be Grace Coddington.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But I don't think.
I mean, she was the real star of the September issue. It was Grace Coddington.
Well, Grace to me has like this like appeal. Grace to me is like Hayley Williams, and that like she's an honorary black person. So,
oh my god,
like I'm like she can. Sorry, I'm hogging the wine. Here you go.
Stop.
I don't know, but I'm just very excited about this, and I think it just goes to show like where Beyonce's kind of like head is, and like what she sees for her future, and like what she sees for like the future, and I think that is great that she's like not like putting whiteness on like this pedestal, and she's willing to go into these spaces and confront them, and the way that she does it is just so like magnificent to me. Like,
yeah, and then it's like to see. I'm sure all the staff are shook at Vogue, like having this 23-year-old
right
black photographer call the shots, and
Mhm.
that's great. And like that's how visibility in the workplace, and it's not just for that, but other aspiring artists and photographers.
Mhm.
Now that glass ceiling is broken, they can also see themselves in that position too.
Right. And also because like Tyler Mitchell's work, it like hold on, I'm drinking. Let me just be sure I have his name correct.
Also, like to add on is just another POC gaze, like another POC, another black person, like photographing another black person is amazing.
Yeah, and it's just like black people have a way of photographing black people that's not like I feel a lot of times black people in photographs, as we've mentioned on the show before, when non-black people photograph them, it comes off as very like fetishy sometimes, and like he has a way of photographing people. Like I followed his work for a while, and he has a way of like photographing people that just seems very like natural to them, and you can tell that like they're comfortable, and it's something that I'm really jealous of when a lot of photographers are able to like get things like very like candidly, and I think that he has a way of doing that which is so gorgeous, and I'm so curious to see what this is going to look like, because it's going to look like like nothing what September issues looked like before. Also, I think Beyonce would be the first black woman to be the first black woman to be on the Vogue September issue twice, but I'm not sure about that. She was on Vogue September's issue I think 2 years ago.
Oh, no way.
And she refused to grant them an interview, and she's refusing to do it for this one too. So
dang. All right.
Yeah, but with that, we'll wrap up, and then we'll move on to the discourse. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, do it.
And we're back to the discourse. Today's discourse, I will not be talking. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be about being POC in the art world, right? And I think it's really great that Ramon is on this episode, because Ramon's very experienced is a word. Help me find other words. Has a lot to. I mean, you have a lot to say about it, and you know, we're
engrossed.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not an expert.
You're an expert,
right? But you frequent museums, right? I can't say which museums you frequent, but you do frequent the ones that are out here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So, this discourse is going to be kind of about like the role that like art plays in our lives, and not just like fine art or museums or galleries, but like in general. So it could be music or whatever.
And also to talk about our show.
Oh, also, thank you. I forgot to mention this before. Ramon and I have a show coming up called... Well, okay.
I thought you were going to say that for the end.
No, we're going to talk... So I heard that you talked about it last week.
No.
Wait, you did?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
You mean on the episode, on the show?
Did you not? I didn't listen to the full episode last week.
We didn't talk about y'all.
Oh, we didn't? Oh, okay. So we'll announce it now. Okay. So... Damn. So I'll add it at the beginning, maybe. So Ramon and I have a show together from September 18th through September 30th. Okay, so here's the thing. I haven't said it out loud before, so I don't know like how you're pronouncing it to people.
It's exactly what Nene leaks.
So it's, the title of the show is called Woo Child, the Ghetto. And
great.
With an
Amazing.
asterisk.
With an asterisk at the beginning. And so we're going to be talking about like so if you follow me on Instagram, oh fuck, I forgot to put it on the podcast Instagram. We're going to be talking about like that show, what kind of came up about that, or like why that came about, and kind of the role that art and entertainment play in the lives of POC. So as the guest, Ramon, do you maybe want to start first?
Do you want me to start talking about the show, or like...
Maybe we should save the show for like the end?
Okay.
Because I think maybe us talking about everything else would maybe give context to the show.
Right. Okay. So maybe I want to premise the discourse, le discourse.
Wow, the French, French and Tagalog.
I am not Bays. Sorry, Bays. With like some statistics, I guess, so we can kind of vibe off of that. During like a 2018 report from Gender Equity in Museums movement, this is all government-funded state museums. There are currently 30 male leaders versus 14 female directors, which is troubling.
That's not surprising, though. And they're probably mostly white.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then based off of American Alliance of Museums, there was a survey that said that 93% are white and 38% are male, and the average age is 55.
Wow.
And like what's sad about that is that only 10% of those directors said that their board members or whatever, developed a plan of action to become more inclusive.
Wow. So maybe, Ramon, the best way to go about doing this, because I feel like most people don't really know how that works, and like I'm still kind of like learning. Do you maybe want to talk about a little bit about how museum structure kind of works, and then kind of go from there? Just like a really like brief.
That's kind of tricky. Like government funded museums, like
let's talk about like the Met or
that's government.
Yeah.
So so they rely on donors.
Mm-hmm.
Who are and like personal like private donors or like corporate donors, because the like government funded museums cannot survive by just like admission fees alone, which is like which is kind of crazy. Like I think you would have to pay like $50-$60 admission to like maybe cover 40% of like bills that a government funded museum. But as far as like this is kind of complicated.
That's why we're here. No, the listeners aren't dumb. Like they think.
So as far as so
stop. I'm drunk and I'm happy. Leave me alone.
Well, thank you, Rakeem.
Our listeners aren't stupid.
We already know that there is like a lack of diversity as far as representation in artists in museums and galleries, but what's more important is actually the lack of diversity in museum and galleries as far as staffing goes. Because let me pull up my notes real quick, because actually I don't need to.
Yeah, come with
the mic drop. Yes,
like a huge percentage of like the people who are involved with the intellectual decisions and the executive decisions of museums and galleries are all white people. And like the talks about diversity go only like so far as like, I don't know, maybe like public programs or visitor services, and like at the very like bottom of it is facilities, and volunteers.
And also a lot of times too, these people like are Trump voters. Like these are like a lot of times people on boards of museums are conservative too.
They're Republicans, right?
Or Republicans,
or don't like have donated to
them. Yeah,
both parties actually, GOP or Democratic.
Yeah, but I think it's more likely, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's more likely that you'll find more conservative.
It depends on which museum.
True.
Yeah. On the West Coast, I think it's mostly blue. Midwest, I mean.
But, I'm not going to say that, but you're right. You're right. Yeah. How did you get into that? Because I know because you mentioned before that, and I mean, I know this, but the listeners don't. You started in culinary, like, practices. So, like, how did you kind of, like, transfer over?
I actually started in art.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh.
I started with art, and then thought that it was not working out for me, and like I went to Humboldt State.
Dang.
Yeah, for my freshman year, and was studying studio art there, and was
Wow.
not really working out. And then I went back down to LA and went to culinary school. And
Can I ask you, from one Filipinx to another, what was your family's reaction in saying that you wanted to major in art? I feel like I already know the answer.
Actually, it was a rare thing.
Oh,
They pushed that.
wow.
When I was younger, well,
Must be nice.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm all bitter over here, still nurse.
I mean, like they don't get what I'm doing, but like they pushed that when I was younger. But it's because that my granddad from my mom's side was really good friends with like a really famous Filipino painter. They're neighbors. Okay. And I remember going over to his house and like
Kapit bahay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Exactly. They're
next door, like
that means neighbor.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes. Like I was best friends with their housemaid's son, so like I would always go over to the maid's quarters or whatever because they have a huge house.
The katulong.
Yeah.
Katulong means like help. Even though in the Philippines, even though if you're not super rich, it's normal to have help.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a weird. Not
that's
class
like
system.
Southeast Asia, like all over Southeast Asia. You kind of hire from like poorer provinces who like have no means of living, and you just like anyway.
So they're really supportive of you. That's great.
Yeah. So but they've always like imagined me as like some sort of designer, not exactly as a fine artist.
Oh,
like
interesting.
Like a fashion designer or something like that. But
wow.
But they've always pushed art.
But like, do you see yourself as a fine artist? And then like, what you're like? Okay, so what to you defines that? And then what has your experience been like, kind of navigating? I hate the phrase "the art world" because it means
that's
everything
what it
else.
is.
But like, what has been your experience navigating the art world as like a QPOC?
Ooh.
The Ghetto.
How much time do you have?
Right.
So that's the show name. So it's interesting, and it's also hard because I don't have a degree in art. Right after Humboldt State. Ooh.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. So I have a degree in culinary arts instead of fine arts, but decided to go back into studying art, like visual arts, and just went to community college classes. So I don't have a degree. I just took classes.
Do you feel like that's necessary though? Because I don't care. Like, to me, like, if like I don't go to galleries and museums, and I'm curious, like you too, like I don't go to, like, for example, so one thing that Ramon had told me to go see was a show at the Hammer Museum called the Made in LA show, and I went to go see it, and like I'm not looking at these exhibitions like, does this person have a degree? Like I don't. So I'm curious. Like, that's always been interesting to me because I've been curious as to like, who cares.
Well, everyone. The thing is, like, everyone who gets into Made in LA have degrees.
But like, but is the degree right? I think the standard for, just so people know, I feel like the standard for, like, if you're saying I'm gonna be, quote, an artist professionally, what that means is you go to undergrad, you do whatever, you bullshit.
Well, so here's where the complication starts: is that it depends on which part of the art world you want to be in, whether it's like capital A art or small case art.
So for people that don't know, what's art with a capital A versus art with a lowercase a?
Art with a capital A is institutionalized.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. So it's like you kind of, so you know, like when you go to a museum and you feel like those pieces are like above critique because they're in a museum, like that's art with a capital A, or like Hauser,
like the permanent collection of.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like
more than that.
Yeah. It's not even like something. Sorry, let me talk. Sorry, I'm excited.
Wow.
So as far as my experiences though, working in museums as a queer POC, and this is all very recent, that like the things that I've observed is that there's a lot of nepotism that happens. I guess regardless of skin color.
To your disadvantage, or you think?
To my disadvantage. I can't really talk about it in detail, but like, I mean, I've applied to a few higher positions, and didn't get it, and had like colleagues who are in the same department and have told me that this is why, like either, you know, like this person got hired because this person knows a donor. This person got hired because this person is showing in the museum. And you know, I mean, those people are 99% white.
White.
But
like the institutions know that. Like that's the thing that's crazy about it to me. It's like they're not willfully. I mean, they're not ignorant of this stuff. Like
I don't think people know that though. I think when people walk in, they're just like, "Oh, this is,
yeah." Well, like
art.
Yeah, I don't think most people like. I think in LA, most people go to like museums or galleries as like and this is a whole other conversation. Honestly, a whole other podcast
selfie Instagram
about selfie Instagram culture or whatever. But like that's what most people are kind of like thinking about, and that's not shade. Like we're not trying to be like art snobs. Like that's
we're all in this together.
Like we all do it. Like that's what it is. But I think that most people think about that, so you don't necessarily think about like who's giving the money. Like I know LACMA had a thing where like one of their donors or like one of the people on their board of trustees was like a Trump supporter and like what that means and like that kind of thing. And it's been interesting, and I'll kind of piggyback off of what Ramon was saying in terms of like being a QPOC in art spaces. It's interesting because I feel like, and I've talked about this before, and at this point, if you work at my gallery, don't listen. But I feel like what happens is sometimes, and what I've realized is it may be specific to the space I'm working in, but I feel like sometimes the thoughts and needs of like QPOC and POC in general, like aren't, I'll actually say it differently. I think the needs of queer people and the needs of people of color, like I think rarely those spaces allow for intersections. Like, they don't, and big institutions don't necessarily kind of, think about like what that means to their staff. Like, cause on one hand, like, so as a queer person of color, like statistically, you're probably not going to be like a trust fund baby, right? Like you're going to come into, you're going to come into this space, like working your ass off. Like most times you're going to have a job during college, whatever, cause you don't have like the privilege of like your mom owning like toaster strudel. Like, so you go into these spaces. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say specifics, but I've heard things about people. But you go into these spaces, you have to work like 8 times as hard as these people, and yet you don't really like see the return. And it's
right. I mean, some arguments have been made that the reason why museums and galleries don't have as much diversity is because art education is really expensive. That's one of them. And then second of all, the reason why the group of people who are mostly white that are responsible for the intellectual and executive decisions for a museum or gallery are white because these people have trust funds and they can and they can take the hit of not making that much.
Or they're like, family member writes a check, like, hey, I'm a donor, and hire my friend to work, right?
I'm gonna ask you a question, John. When was the last time you were at a gallery exhibition or a museum exhibition where you felt seen by the work?
Oh my god. There was I think this was last year. There was a pop-up gallery in downtown LA.
Pop-up.
Can it not be a pop-up?
No, but I'm just saying, like, the point of it being a pop-up gallery is that it's not an institutional space.
Oh, okay, institutional space.
No. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, did you guys hear about that pop-up? I think it was called Action.
Oh yeah, I went there.
Yeah, and that was great because it was, even though it was a pop-up,
I didn't get to see
it was very directed towards what was happening like currently. There's a lot of art
I thought you were going to
on
mention Ice Cream Museum or something.
Oh my god, no. Ew. I mean, I feel seen, because they gave me free ice cream, but
but that's like a whole other.
We'll talk
about that.
That's another type of. That's a whole another.
Well, that's a whole other conversation about like whether the museum of ice cream is like a museum, but
that I felt seen there because I felt the pieces they were made by people in the community, and the pieces were directed like just straight up like this is because of the trans murders happened in 2017,
right?
And like this piece is about queer culture, and like I appreciate that. But if we're talking about institutionalized, like I was just one of my cousins was visiting from out of state. We took them to the Ghetto, and like it's like it's a bunch of Greek busts and European paintings, and I don't feel seen there at all, and not even in their like rotating exhibitions. It's just like I go there because this is like a sort of like a tourist spot. Like, you have to see this if you're in LA. But like, I don't go there and like look at pieces. I know I'm not gonna see anything that's gonna like move me, and that's just my own personal taste in art too. Like, I don't really care for busts or like furniture that they stole. Apparently, like a lot of the Getty pieces are stolen
or colonized.
Or yeah, so. I mean, the architecture is beautiful. The stuff is objectively.
We should say allegedly, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Allegedly.
I'm sorry.
They have a lot of money. And
Okay.
Hi, we
I'm
love
sorry.
institutions. We
I'm
love
so sorry.
institutional
I need
racism.
to cut that part out.
But I think that speaks to kind of what we're talking about. Even the fact that we have to like say that, you know what I mean? Like,
so I think that this might be a completely like separate conversation, but that brings up like where does art education begin? Like, like I certainly value those busts as part of art history, right? Like,
Right.
But not a lot of POC get it. You know, like
I think a lot of times, and I feel conflicted about this, that like POC art is expected to be, which is actually like a great segue. Like, like art made by POC and especially QPOC is expected to look like a certain kind of way,
right?
Where I'm gonna take race out of it for a quick second. I feel like queer art is very expected to be like sex and like dick
and identity,
right? And like, and I had a show a while ago before the podcast started called "White Artists Don't Have to Make Work About Racial Identity," because no. It was, oh my God, it was during the show. About how white artists kind of have like the liberty to make whatever the fuck they want, and it's fine. But like, if Ramon or John or I make something, it's always going to be tied into our identities, like no matter like what we do.
Right.
So one thing I wanted to
Is that a bad thing though?
Well, okay. Well, so what I say is this. We are POC artists, like we're QPOC artists, and like that's what it is. But I want the freedom to make whatever the fuck I want. Like, not everyone can make work about like. Not everyone wants to make work about how slavery impacts us now. Like, not like, what if I said I just wanted to make a piece about how red and blue interact? You know,
yeah, I want to be able to say no and like have people believe it that my painting is not queer.
You know, it's more so the ability to exist under the guise of like, without having those labels. Like, white artists are able to move through those spaces like without that being a thing. Whereas if it's a black person, even the act of like having a painting or a photograph, and let's just say like I photograph like a sunset, right? But then I photograph one photograph of it being a sunset, but another person, and there's like a black person in it. The connotation of that black person being there is automatically going to change like what the subject matter is, like strictly because there's a person there with darker skin, and people are going to like see that, and they're going to think that, even though they might not say it. But I think that brings us into like a great segue, because Ramon and I are actually kind of like working on a collaborative show, which is going to be, I'll link it in the description, but it's going to be in September, like I mentioned before, and it's called "Woo Child, the Ghetto," and it's a collaborative show between the two of us, and so I wanted to talk about that a little bit, about like what the ideas behind the show were.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to like piggyback off of like your previous idea too before we talk about the show. Is that it's more like, I don't want people to expect me to make queer POC art,
right?
And that's it. Like, I want to be able to say that I'm making a painting for reasons beyond my identity.
Right.
Which is a segue, because I'm making paintings about like critiques of how to critique an art piece.
Oh yeah.
But Rakeem, do you want to start first?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the show that we're doing, kind of, God, I'm like so scared because I know how I am when I drink. And so, okay, so I think that there's a few things going on with like the show that we're doing, but part of what I wanted to talk to y'all about was, and by y'all I mean the listeners, was about kind of the idea why. So for me personally, so the show's going to be divided into kind of like 2 sections, and it's a 2-week show, and I'll put all the information in the description box. But for me, it's like I work out a space where I feel like I'm not able to be myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm not able to express the thoughts that I would like to have. And I have to engage in artwork that sometimes is not, that is sometimes insensitive to me as a black person, and sometimes is offensive to me as a black person. And like what that means, like what does it mean to be and not even just art, but like what does it mean to be, or how does it feel rather, to be a black person in a space, in an institutionally like white space? So like some of us may work at design firms, or some of us may work at law firms, or some of us may work at Michael's or whatever. I don't know, but like what does it mean to like work in a space where the people that are at the top don't care about you? Like how does that feel? And then what does that mean when these people say you're able to do whatever the fuck you want for 2 weeks? How do we kind of like engage in that? And I felt like I could have gone the kind of safe route and done something completely by myself and just put up work that's just safe. But like, who's ever done anything or made an impact by being safe? And like, even by talking about this, I know it's probably not a good idea, but like who cares? Like, it's just, I feel like there's a lot of art spaces that don't critically engage in the cultural context or the cultural implications of like what their work is saying. And so sometimes I feel like I'm not looked at as a human. So the work I'm doing for this particular show is going to be about what it means to interact with black bodies in a white institution space. Like, what does that mean? Like, we're very lucky to like be on Reverie, where it's like QPOC owned. But like, what would that mean if we were on like, I don't even know, like another podcast network where it was like all white executives? Like, will we have to censor what we say? Like,
I'm sure. Yeah.
And so this show to me is kind of like, in very layman's terms, kind of like saying fuck that. And it's kind of challenging the way, and it's actually not even challenging, it's demanding that when you interact with me and my body and my artwork, you're doing it on my terms. So I don't want to give too much away, but I'll say is my part of the installation of the show is very much like, you will see the artwork, but you have to see it on the terms that I'm setting for you. Like, in this white space, like, the only thing that I can really do is say, like, I exist. And forcing you to see that for what it is, and not, like, the stereotypes of, like, what you're telling me that, like, it has to be, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the purpose of my half of the show is to set up the questions for that. Like the gallery is known for showing like older generation white artists, and who are probably not even in tune with like the art with a capital A world right now, and he probably don't go to museums at all.
I want to supplement that by saying it's important that you see, like, that's important because not only in the art world, but like anywhere. Like, if you're a musician but you're only listening to the music that you make, you don't know what the music world at large looks like. And context matters in terms of like the landscape in which you're making work. It matters in terms of like, it just matters.
We live in like a time where like a paint stroke cannot speak for itself anymore. Like you have to say more than that. Like people derive meanings from like where you grew up from, or like what you did before, and like on top of materials, like, or like where you went to school, and all that stuff. Like, that's just the postmodern contemporary way of looking at things. And like a lot of the artists who are showing at this gallery they are. It's something that I talk about with my work too.
Don't get me fired.
Is that
I have to get a check.
is that I mean, I talk about arrogance through materials. Like, you know, I also worked in an art store, and a lot of the people that I interacted with are the same kind of people who walk into the store thinking that they know what they're talking about,
Right.
and like they ask me questions about how to do certain things, and then they ask for very like archival stuff, and like that kind of like, you know, like set up. It put a question in my head. It's just kind of like, what makes you think that your work is important enough that it needs to last for more than 100 years?
Dang.
You know, like,
Well,
you know, like art historically, where do you put yourself? Like, how important is this? And like, you know, like, what are you changing? What are you saying about culture and society and politics and all that stuff?
Does it have to address it all the time though? What if they're
I
just
think in
making
the
it for
age
this-
of Trump, it's important. I don't.
so
yeah.
I think that's interesting that you asked that, John, because I
'Cause
actually,
what if someone wants to make art just for the sake of art and like they think this is pretty?
but that's the exact. That's what we're saying before. So like,
Right.
That also gets into the complications of what the definition of art is, because it's different.
it's so
with each
complicated.
person.
It's so complicated, and the art world is like so convoluted. But I will say this: I think that part of what we were talking about earlier is like POC don't have the ability to say, "I'm going to make art for art's sake." Like it, like no matter what I do, if I make a painting that is literally, I don't even paint. If I make a painting. Sorry, the Alabama jumped out. If I make a painting and it's just like of a tree, like someone will say, "Was someone lynched on that tree?" Whereas if a white person makes that painting, they can say it's a tree. And part of
Or
why,
are they about to lynch someone on that tree? I'm just
or
kidding.
that too, but like part of what's important for us is like just allowing people to know that you don't have, like, it's the same thing that we do every week when you are saying you have these privileges. It's not saying that like it means you don't work hard or whatever. It's just saying that like you have the freedom to do this. And I agree with you. I think that I think that POC should be allowed to just make work for work's sake. However, with that being said,
We don't have that privilege. Yeah.
we don't have that privilege, because I feel like a lot of times, like the work, when people say, like, it actually bothers me when people say stuff like, "Oh, well, you know, this is a political issue." Well, like, it's not. It's my life, right? Like, my life is becoming a political issue.
Right.
And one thing that I take issue with, and something that I will say I'm even falling into in the show, is that a lot of times POC art is expected to be made out of trauma. Like, it's expected to be made out of hardship. It's expected to be made out of like places of sadness and like anger and not joy and happiness. And some of this work is that for sure, because it's like, what does it mean to be oppressed by like a white institution that like pays your bills, right? But at the same time, oh god, this is probably gonna get me fired. But at the same time, it's like, but at the same time, like, we talked about Beyonce and her hiring, you know, this black photographer. Like, that's positive. Like, what if I want to make something that's celebrating that? You know what I mean? So I feel like we're not allowed to do that.
Kind of jumping off of that, Beyonce hiring.
Oh god, I wish I could jump off of Beyonce hiring.
I you know, like, I think it's kind of time to, you know, like, just have a lot more POC and queer like curators and collectors that will kind of, you know, who will support like queer POC artists, so that it'll give way for these artists to work more full time as an artist, and for their works to be shown, instead of just like always these like superstar artists.
Who do you consider superstar artists?
Jeff Koons, Damien Hirst,
Cindy Sherman, and they're all white.
Marina Abramovich.
Oh yeah, her.
Yeah.
The one that like sat on the chair for.
Yeah.
Well, she's also the one that tried to fuck over Jay-Z. And it's like, can you name like 3 or like can you name 5 POC artists that you consider like legends, like that are alive?
That are alive, that are legends. Kara Walker.
The guy who painted the
Kerry
Obama.
James Marshall.
Kerry James Marshall's alive?
Yeah, he's alive.
Oh shit! Oh fuck! I thought Kerry James Marshall died like 5 years ago. Whoops!
Who's that?
Kerry James Marshall is this really prolific black painter, and like he's referenced in. I'll show you after, but I thought he was dead. Like
No.
I didn't know he was alive.
He's alive.
Whoops!
The guy who painted the Obamas, right?
Kehinde Wiley.
Yeah.
Also, in LA alone, we have like a lot.
But I feel like
of,
he's not considered like and that's
I think he's a legend already.
But that's the thing, though. I feel like that's exactly why we're having this conversation, because I feel like for POC, that's like cements it, right? But for white people, I feel like that's a starting point. Like, it's like, okay, well, he photographed Obama. What does he do? Whereas POC is like, bitch, not photographed. He painted Obama. And it's like, the woman that painted Michelle Obama, her name is, Amy Sherald. And, correct? Right? Amy Sherald? Yeah. And I feel like, with her, it's the same thing. She's a quote, emerging artist, which means that, like, you're, I guess instead of going into for 40 minutes, it means you're like a relatively new artist. Like, she doesn't know what the fuck she knows what she's doing.
Wow.
White people don't think she knows what the fuck she's doing. So to me, it's like, as a QPOC, there's just so many struggles and things that you just have to kind of like overcome. Like you have to decide, do I speak out about this or do I pay my bills? Do I speak out about this or am I going to get fired? Do I speak out about the programming or do I get fired? Do I talk about the piece that had blackface in it or do I get fired? Do I talk about the piece that has Asian symbols in it when you're not Asian or do I get fired? Do I talk about the work that talks about gay people's experience even though you're not gay or do I get fired? Do I criticize the white people that are gay there without getting like, and so the reason I wanted to have this discourse is because I think that there's not a lot, but I think that there's people that are in that world that are creative, that are making work, that see these white gays on Instagram that can like make work with that's like these like really funny cartoon things with like these chest hairs and stuff and like Santa Claus hats or whatever. And no, but it happens. And they get all this attention and all these opportunities. Or you could be a white photographer and photograph black people and get all this attention.
Wow.
Whereas QPOC,
yeah, exactly.
But like, it's not even shade. It's happening.
It's true.
No,
it's
happening. You're right.
Where like Ramon and I don't like, if this show is bad to people, like that's it. Like we don't have the option of being mediocre.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just like, it's frustrating because you see this shit that's just kind of like not critically or not even critically, but mentally engaging in the way that you would like it to be, or it doesn't touch upon anything. Like, how many times am I going to see a pink dick that talks about gay rights on Instagram? Like, I don't need to see that anymore. Like, we know that.
Yeah. I mean, white people even like kind of take over the space for internships that are like made for us,
right?
Made for POC. Like, did you guys hear about? I think this was like maybe a couple of years ago that this white girl was suing the Getty because she was not considered for the Getty multicultural internship. But you know what I mean? It's like
it's all kind of shit that we could sit here and do a discourse on like Dana Schutz and like the Emmett Till painting, but we're not going to do that because we're running out of time. So what I will say is, in conclusion, is there anything that you want to say? What I've learned by doing this discourse is that there is so much shit that like we haven't even like touched upon.
Right.
So is there anything that you want to say before we move on or before we?
More like a question, kind of like a rhetorical question, like just for you to kind of, for everyone really, for the listeners too, to kind of ponder is like what does art mean to you is my question. and also like as an advice, I guess, for POC queer artists, I would say don't listen to the outside noises and just do your thing. I think authenticity, or like you know, the power that's felt from viewing art comes from making it out of like a genuine joy of just making it, and it doesn't need to have a statement right next to it, and people will just get it. And so I would say just make what feels good to you.
I agree. Sorry,
No,
John.
I was gonna add on to that. I think Ramon and I were in the museum. I don't remember, but you had asked me like what type of art moves you, and I couldn't answer it right away because I still am figuring it out when I go to spaces. Like,
Dick.
That literally moves me to tears. But
we know.
tears
We've
of
been
joy. But yeah, like, you know, what is it? Is it like a big piece? Is it something more modern? Is it? And I had to think about it for a minute. And yeah, so I guess that's a question I want to also ask the listeners, is what you asked me. And also sort of do the same thing, like take into consideration about like what's being fed to you as to what is like, I mean, that's how I feel when I walk into spaces. Like, why is this hanging here and not something else? You know, like, really think about who is curating this, who gets to decide what art is, and I even know capital A versus lowercase a. So that's something.
And who is shown, like the artist who is shown in these institutions, like directly reflects the values of these institutions.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all I'll say is, in conclusion, for me, is just like, I would say the definition of what you think art is a lot bigger than you think. Like, I think the lowercase capital A thing is something that's kind of talked about like within the art world itself, but like not necessarily out of it. But I think that I would say you're influenced by a lot of stuff. You're influenced by who you see, what kind of stuff you see, how often you see it, the reaction to those things, and really kind of think about like what that means for you, and think about like the ways in which those images really influence your thinking. Like, for example, going on Tumblr and like looking at like scrolling down your dashboard, but like seeing images of like white men, it's a form of like you being informed visually by something. And art is a visual communication outlet, I guess. And so really think about like what that means, especially in terms of identity. Like, I've been thinking of art in terms of identity lately. Like, I can't really separate the two, and like what that means for you. And really think about like not even just exhibitions, but like just stuff you see on Instagram, or stuff you see on Twitter, or stuff you see on Facebook, and like what are you being fed, and like what is and who's making it, and what does that say? And think about your role in that, and like, is this something you reject or accept? I don't know.
Also, just a little bit of shade.
We love shade.
Get messy, Ramon. Get messy.
Copying and repainting album covers is not art.
Well,
Just saying.
Oh, you'll have to tell me what that is.
We'll
what you're referring to after.
Yeah. Okay, so I think with that we're gonna end the. I think we're good, right? We talked about. I think we're gonna end the discourse, and then we'll then we'll move on to male of color. All right.
Ew. So we are back with the male of color, and we're gonna read a few emails, and we'll try to do our best to each of us, right? Just each. Well,
yeah, we're each gonna answer them. I'm gonna read. It's one email, but it's two questions, and I figured this would be like a good, lighthearted way to end the episode. So, the first question is, I don't know if we're allowed to say your name.
Let's not.
But it's okay. So,
for future reference, if you're gonna write us in, please let us know if we can say your name.
Yeah, please do, because I don't know if we're allowed to. But we're ticking off all the emails that we haven't gotten to. So this one says, Hello, y'all. Much love. I have a mailbag question for you. It's two, actually. Mailbag. What is the most embarrassing autocorrect / autofill existence on your web browser?
On my web browser.
Or your phone. Or period.
like not like
period.
Like a text message?
Or that too. What's your okay, I'll rephrase it. What's your most embarrassing autocorrect moment?
Yeah. One time my phone had corrected, I forgot what I was trying to type, but it corrected it into hosting. And I was like, all right.
So who were you talking to?
I was talking to someone that was like unrelated to hosting. Yeah. And it thank God I didn't press send right away because it didn't even make sense in the sentence. It was like blah blah blah, then all of a sudden hosting, and I don't know what it corrected, but I just remember like laughing in my mind, like, God, my phone knows I'm trash.
It's probably you're in the sentence is like, yeah, your blood pressure's looking really hosting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that
I'm actually shocked that like that's it. I felt like
oh I don't know. I thought there's been a lot. I don't know if I was good to do more, but you guys go first.
Oh no, it's not that like. So mine is like I've definitely sent a nude to the wrong person before.
Whoa. Oh, well, that's not autocorrect. That's
Oh, okay. Is that not okay? So autocorrect. So this is so embarrassing. So because of how Baze and I talk, sometimes my phone will autocorrect to nigger.
Oh no.
And so like I might have been trying to type the word bigger, and that didn't really come out. And the person I was sending it to was a white person. So it was just kind of like
they're like, can I say it too?
No. It was just one of those things where I was just like,
say it too? What the heck?
It was one.
No.
Oh, does that shock you?
No.
Mm-hmm. So that was definitely one of them. I think maybe another one was, let's think. This happened this week too, because I know I definitely fucking autocorrected something. Oh, I was talking to my friend and I was talking about, I was trying to talk about the movie with Liam Neeson and Sigourney Weaver. I almost did it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that instead of Sigourney Weaver, I said Sojourner Truth. So like I said like, oh, the movie with Liam Neeson and Sojourner Truth.
Oh my God.
And my friend was like, but yeah, honestly, I haven't done anything too crazy other than like send nudes to like the wrong person and confuse a white woman with a black woman. But
oh my God.
Whoa.
Yeah, Ramon.
Not a lot, but I remember particularly I was planning like a dinner with some friends, and I was texting someone, I forgot who, and I was kind of like letting them know the menu, and one of them is miso soup, and it auto-filled to like misogyny soup.
Oh, misogyny soup. That is the worst kind of soup.
What is misogyny soup filled with?
Penis.
True.
True.
So, choo-choo!
Choo-choo!
You like misogyny soup then, huh,
No,
John?
I don't. Stop.
Uh-huh. Mm.
Oh, wait. I know that. Oh, sorry. We're going to...
No, nothing. That's it. Yeah.
I know I was Googling. You guys know like the red dress party that happens like once a year?
What is that?
So a lot of bars and like a lot of like, or not a lot, like some gay bars will host a red dress thing. And it's like, I forgot the history of it. I think it has to do with like the AIDS epidemic and how a lot of folks... I forgot what they were doing back then with the red dress. But anyway, I was trying to Google this is exactly what I was doing. I was trying to find out the meaning between red dress. So I was Googling red dress, and then my phone was like, did you mean red tube /gay? And I was like, fuck my life.
Oh my God. Speaking of red tube, that's actually like such a good transition because this is actually a 2-part question, which is, what is your most embarrassing experience with porn?
Like,
it's up into interpretation.
I don't have any.
Should I go for? I'll go first.
Yeah.
You can go first.
Oh God. Okay, so Why am I saying this? Oh my god. So I really like in porn when they're very like verbal and like talking.
Uh-huh.
So I had searched a video. Well, not a video, but I had searched people talking. And the video that I had landed on happened to be interracial. And in this video, there was a white top and a black bottom. And they maybe started to talk about race.
Oh no.
Issue was I wasn't using earphones.
Oh no.
So I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna say who, but I'm pretty sure that someone heard it. And the gag is like, when I heard it, I was kind of like, or let me not say the gag, but the sad part is when I heard it, I didn't turn it off. I would never do it now, but this was in college, and I didn't turn it off because sometimes you're like, oh my god, am I gonna come or am I gonna like whatever? And
You just went for it.
I did, and it's terrible and it's embarrassing and it's not. I'm not that woman anymore. But at the time,
Growth.
Yes, what do you call that? Growth. I definitely came to a racist video that I'm sure my roommates at the time heard. So
Wow.
yeah. I don't like the way you're looking at me.
No, nothing.
It's like, oh, that explains a lot, is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking. Ramon?
It's nothing really embarrassing, but like something interesting to
Yeah.
me. I mean, I've talked to Rakeem about this a lot, but like, and like a few other folks who are really close to me, but wow, this is public now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your workmate. Here
It's okay. I've been watching straight porn lately.
That's not embarrassing.
I know it's not. I'm not saying
Oh.
it's embarrassing. It's just like it's kind of interesting to me because
Yeah.
I'm Gold Star.
Wow.
Ooh. Wait,
What?
so like, why
For
are
a gold star, for those of us who are, for people who are listening, can you define what gold star means?
That means you've never had sex with someone who has a vagina.
Right. Or you haven't done anything with?
Yeah.
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 Anything past like second base, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so who's a gold star?
I'm a platinum star.
What does that mean? Oh my!
It means I was a C-section, so I've literally never touched a vagina.
Oh my god, me too.
Wait, I was a C-section too. But I lost my virginity to a girl. So, damn. Wait, are we all C-sections?
I'm C-section.
How much does y'all weigh?
A lot.
Like-
Enough to get C-section.
How much?
I was like 6 pounds.
You got C-section at 6 pounds?
I don't.
That's
Is
normal.
that normal?
That's
I don't know.
normal,
Well, I got
bro.
C-section,
That's
so it
kinda
must
light.
be heavier.
What did you get? I was 10.
Oh, I was 8 point something. Yeah.
I was 10 and my sister was 11.
Oh, dang. Ashley was 11. Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
Okay.
Body positivity. Okay, so...
Wait, no, I didn't get to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
I was going to say mine was, this is how my brother found out about my
Oh, no.
orientation. But no, it's not like the fact that it was, okay, so this was like when I was 15 or 16, and this is back when we had dial-up. So,
Whoa.
you know, I was really dedicated to looking at porn because I was like, Mom, Dad, get off the phone because I have homework to do. And like, you know, you have to
Wow.
announce that like no one can use the phone because you're about to do your homework / watch porn. So, and then my brother would use the computer after me, and I was dumb and sloppy and didn't know anything about cookies or internet history. And so he pulled up this website, and I'm going to get made fun of for this, and I am totally okay with it. But
Sean Cody?
no, it
This
was
is before private browsing.
it was pup porn.
So we thank you so much for coming to this week's
It wa-
episode of POC.
Yeah, I mean, which is interesting because it's Doreali season right now. So, I mean,
What season?
Doreali, it's that party in San Francisco where it's
Oh.
like...
Sorry, I'm going to
like-
be Renee for 2 seconds.
Oh, no, not Doreali. It's not Doreali. What's it called?
I have no idea.
Folsom. It's Folsom.
I was going to say Diagon Alley. But that's Harry Potter.
But yeah, it was pup. It was like... and
Harry
it was,
Pupper?
It was specifically young pups. And like an older, like... And my brother was like, what is this?
Guardian Reviosa.
And I couldn't I hate you so much. And they couldn't like pun because before it was specifically if it was just like a picture of a naked dude, I could be like, oh, that was one of my friends who came over and was like looking it up. But then he was like, why does the timestamp say at this time when no one else was at home and you were the only one?
Rough seats.
I hate you. Anyways, yeah.
Rough rider, cliff diver.
You're so dumb.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
What? Say it.
No, I was just gonna say those existed back then.
Yeah, they did. I was a pioneer in my day. During dial-up, I was 16. Yeah.
So are you saying that you are like a pioneer of the pump movement?
I'm just saying.
And you sat here this whole time.
I knew about it. At a very young age.
So did you identify with it at a very young age?
No, I was curious.
Did you identify it at an old age?
It was interesting. No,
There's no shame, girl. We don't kink.
Sorry, pup community.
So thank you for writing into Podcast of Color. If you want to continue to write us over at podcastofcolor@gmail.com.
What letters did y'all ask last week? I didn't get to finish it.
Oh God, I don't even remember.
Okay, so I'm debating if you want. Did you guys answer what one type of cuisine would you eat for the rest of your life?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so we'll answer that and then we'll go. So the last question is, I don't want to say this person's name either, and it's a relatively simple question, but it says, so first it talks about Darling and the Franks, but no one knows what the fuck that is other than me. So I will ask y'all. So it says, if you had one cuisine style that you can eat almost every single day of your life, what would it be? Dick and ass don't count.
Wow. Well then, I have nothing else. I'm just kidding.
I have nothing. No.
This is gonna sound controversial, but it's not Filipino food for me.
I was gonna say the same thing. But what would it be though if it's not Filipino food?
It's Punjabi food.
Oh. Wait, so what kind of food does that like entail?
So like samosas,
curries,
like Indian curry, like the Indian food that you find here in the United States.
Naan.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So good.
I know. So I was gonna say too. So my justification is I grew up on Filipino food, and like the treat, my parents would like, oh, you got good grades. We'll take you to an American place. So
I don't think you were gonna say the bathhouse.
So like, no, oh my God. Ew, why would my
straight A's? You could go to Flex.
Like we'd go get pizza or like a hamburger, and so like I always thought that was like a treat. Was like white people food, like burgers and fries. So.
Ooh, this is a discourse food in POC. Ooh.
Yes.
What about you?
Thank you for asking. I think it would be Chinese food.
Like what kind of Chinese food?
Like not Panda Express. Like actual like
Cantonese, Szechuan, Hokkien.
Rakeem said what?
Well, no, it's just
he said not Panda Express. It's okay, Rakeem.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
There's Islamic Chinese food.
Look, we didn't get degrees in culinary, so it's fine if we don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
I don't know if this is like problematic. So I don't know. All I'll say is I have friends that are Chinese, and like, no, let me fucking finish. Let me finish.
I have friends who are Chinese.
No. God damn it! What I mean is that the food that I have eaten at their house and like around their family has just like, if I could eat that for the rest of my life, I would be happy with it. That was the question. So the point wasn't to say I have Chinese friends. It's just
if you were the Chinese friend that Rakeem was talking about, please email me.
Oh my God, y'all! Is this how you feel every week when I say you hate black women?
Oh. A lot of my friends are black women.
Hi, Nia!
Shut up! I'm kidding.
Mess. Anyway, okay, so are there any last comments before we go? Because we're all a mess.
Stay tuned for our API episode.
Yeah, okay, so I do want to say, do stay tuned for that, though, because we are going to kind of do things where it's like race specific, I
Because
guess.
Rakeem's going to bring his Chinese friend out.
Okay, so anyway, if you want to find us on Twitter, before we do that, thank you, Ramon, so much for coming.
Thank you, Ramon.
Thanks for having
Hey.
me.
Where can we find Ramon?
You can find me on Instagram
At
works.on.paper. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay, I'll link it.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on. And
we're looking forward to to y'all's show.
Thanks,
yes, so you could see. I'll put the information for the show in the description as well. And it's not till September, so you have a while. But if you want to talk to your friends about it,
start planning. Make a night of it.
do that now. Yeah, the
Bring your
reception's on a
PLC
Thursday.
It's a Thursday
so-
night, so like
Yeah, so do plan for it. But yeah, I mean, again, as with every episode, the more we talk about things, the more we realize that like these are like 4-hour conversations. And yeah, so we might be continuing this later, but thank you so much for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Trashercolor. You can find us everywhere else at Podcastacolor, no spaces. Do we have any thank yous this week?
You do.
Do I?
No, I don't know.
Oh my god, I do. Oh my god, I do. Oh my god, so I can finally talk about it. So I don't know if you guys know Big Dipper the rapper. I was in his music video Looking not too long ago, but I also shot his album cover and it's out today.
Yay.
So I need to post it on Instagram like right now. So yeah, so thank you for that. And let me just look to see if there's anything else on here. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. And is that it?
I want to give a shout out to the LGBT Center in Orange County. It was Trans Pride this past weekend, and I'm super proud for...
Wait, Trans Pride was this weekend?
This past weekend in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
So, shout out to... I'm always afraid of going down to Orange County because it's like the Bible Belt. So, I'm really shook that they had a Trans Pride. It is! No,
it is the Bible Belt of California.
It is the Bible Belt of California. So, when I got down there, I was like, oh, y'all have a Trans Pride here? That's amazing.
Right.
So, shout out to them. That's all.
Ramon, do you have any shout outs or thank yous that you want to...
I want to thank you, actually, for inviting me to the show that you're planning.
Aww.
I can't believe I was the first person you called.
Absolutely. I was just like, who else? Like, if it wasn't you, I'd do it by myself. So...
You could have done it by yourself, but you invited me. So.
But also, that's a lot of money. And I'm glad that I would absolutely do it again. And if I had the opportunity over, I would invite you. And every chance I get, I will do that.
I hope this is a regular thing for you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So...
All right.
Can we help you?
No.
Can we have a moment?
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys
Next week.
We're a mess.
This podcast is executively produced by Aaliyah J. Daniels, LaShawn McGee, Damian Pelliccioni, Christopher Rodriguez, John Kagandahan, Team Cunningham, Baze White, and Renee Herman.